All right, ladies and gentle people, welcome back to another edition of Live SEO Support. Sir Links-a-Lot's weekly live Q&A live stream. I'm getting a
Hello.
little unpracticed at saying the introduction, or maybe I'm just tired, I don't know. But that seemed a little bit rough.
Yeah, poor
Um,
Chris is in Istanbul right now, so he's on the reverse schedule. Nighttime over there versus daytime over yonder.
I'm also super yellow again. Um,
Oh,
like I have to play with my camera settings again. I don't know why
hope
everything
it's
keeps
not
getting weird.
jaundice. You've been partying hard,
No,
treating
just
yourself
the
poorly.
camera. I think I'm drinking enough water. No jaundice. Even though I did have jaundice when I was a little baby.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember Caspian had a bout too.
they had to put me under some like a grow light. They like put me in
Mm-hmm.
an incubator with a bright light on me for a couple days or something. I can't remember.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
Caspian had to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice. He'll probably be a genius too then.
Must
That's good.
be. It's a good variable to have.
Yeah, what have you been up to?
Oh, just a big thing that we were talking about before we jumped on live stream is I started sleeping more. So now I go to bed when Caspian goes to bed, which is around 8 o'clock, and then I wake up and I'm trying to work this into shorter times, but between 5 and 7 o'clock. And I've noticed that it's been tremendously better than I mean, plus I'm getting way more sleep than I was getting, which was about 6 hours on average.
Yeah, it's not
But yeah,
enough.
definitely, no, it's not enough for sure. But sometimes, we get stressed, we get overwhelmed with everything we got going on, and it's like we forget to do the basics like sleep,
I don't ever
eat.
forget to sleep. If I don't get like somewhere around 8 hours, like I'm in like
God,
some
I
kind of like funk.
remember traveling with you in Asia whenever we'd have hangover days and we'd wake up early and it just like I'd look because usually it's a bunk bed because we'd be staying in hostels and I'd be looking down at Chris and he'd just be God, he'd be angry. Angry guy.
Oh
It's funny
man,
times.
why am I so yellow and red? That's kind of crazy.
That's
Um,
just a camera.
but yeah,
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe before we get started, as we're terrible about that. Though, thanks to you out there, we're finally at 1,000 subscribers. We really appreciate that. Thank you for all y'all's support. We couldn't be doing this without y'all, and we know that.
yeah. Basically, if I only got like 6 hours, I feel like my work productivity would goes way down.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just like yeah, I really need it. I guess I'm like sensitive to it or something. Some people are
Yeah.
like way. I wish I didn't have to sleep so much. You know?
Yeah, I think it depends on the person too, but
Yeah.
then you factor in stuff like how much you're using your brain, how much you're using, I mean, we both exercise pretty regularly as well. And sleep is a huge part of recovering from all that stuff. And when you forget to do it, it definitely, it's almost like you don't notice it, but you start to lag slowly and surely.
Definitely don't sleep as much as like a girl though. I feel like girls can really sleep a very long time.
That's sexist,
I feel like it's true
but
though.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to look it up. I'm not going to jump on it because
Sexist
I
means
feel
that
like we're going to get
one
in
one is
trouble.
better than the other or worse than the other. I'm not saying that, but like I just feel like girls could like knock out like 10, 11 hours no problem.
Oh, I've been doing that lately. It feels so
10, 11
nice.
hours?
I think I did 10 hours yesterday and the day before.
I mean, I do it sometimes, but it's pretty
Or
rare.
nine. Nine.
Yeah, I normally like eight's like the sweet spot. Like I physically like normally I can't really sleep much longer than that unless I'm like really worn out or something. But
Yeah,
do you use an alarm or anything?
I do. But honestly, just Caspian's internal clock wakes me up at like 7 to 7:30 anyways.
Hmm.
If I do set an alarm, it's to try and wake up before him and just get my day started before he's up and running me around.
Gotcha. Yeah, I haven't used an alarm in a while now.
That's
Um,
good. It's good to have an internal clock that just does it for you.
yeah.
Plus, then I feel like you don't get woken up abruptly, ruin your dream state, etc. Like it's just a more relaxing,
Yeah,
better way to
you pretty
wake
much
up.
just wake up when you're ready to.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I'll still wake up and I'm like, especially if I like, go to sleep later, I'll still wake up at the same time and I haven't got enough sleep. So I'll have to like, but I can't physically sleep any longer because my like
Mm-hmm.
internal clock, I'll have to take a nap or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, sleep's probably like the number one thing for me as far as being productive. Like
Yeah.
if I'm not getting good enough sleep, like my work, yeah, it just goes way down.
Yeah, we got to do that biohacking, we got to pay attention to what's going on and everything in unison.
Cool, yeah, become biohackers. That'll be fun.
Yeah, sweet.
All right, guys, we'll go ahead and get down to it. Um, you guys know how it works. If you haven't been here before, though, just go ahead. If you have a question, drop it in the chat and we'll get to it. We'll get to the live ones first, or else we'll just get to the ones that we have saved up that people have sent us privately or haven't gotten to yet, or people posted in our group, that kind of thing. So, yep. Go ahead and drop your questions in the chat and we'll get to you as soon as we can. Let's see what we got first. All right. And now I feel like I'm not as yellow, right?
Now you look a little different. I mean, you're still pretty washed out, but
Anyway,
it's
um,
fine.
all right. Is it best to start link building after 6 months because that usually when you get out of the sandbox? No, we like to start building links pretty much immediately. Like as soon as as soon as like it's possible to like have the budget to start building links, we pretty much like to start building them as soon as you get like some kind of basic bare bones site up, really. As far as the sandbox goes, I won't like debate this too much, but the idea of the sandbox itself is kind of this. I won't say it doesn't exist, but I don't think it's like a. I don't think it's like a set in stone thing. It's like I think basically Google's just like, hasn't got used to your site yet. It doesn't really know you're there. It's not really, the crawlers haven't got accustomed to crawling your site and doing that regularly. And so I think as far as the sandbox goes, I think building links as early as possible would would get you out of this kind of period quicker because you're essentially just getting Google to start crawling your site because Google's going to crawl those other sites that you're getting backlinks from. It's going to see the backlinks. It's going to get directed to your site. It's going to start crawling it. This doesn't mean your site's going to get out of the quote sandbox immediately, but I definitely think it can help kind of speed things up. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing, as far as building links go, there's nothing you really need to wait for as far as starting to build them. And I definitely would not wait 6 months. That's a very long time. A lot of people, when they're starting new SEO projects, they like to start getting, some page one results. Maybe it's not like the super, higher competition stuff, but they like to start getting page one results. Normally, I think by about like 3 to 6 months in, like somewhere in the 3 to 6 month range. Just kind of depends on the person, how they're building, how quick they're building, that kind of thing. So yeah, if you're starting building links at 6 months, I feel like you're just kind of losing a lot of time, right? Yeah, what do you think on that, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go ahead and agree that the sandbox is a concept that a lot of newer SEOs think about. I remember shutting down sites because I thought they were stuck in this purgatory kind of situation because I'd done things wrong, and so Google will never let me out of the sandbox, etc. But the concept in and of itself is basically, from what I've seen and messed with, um, just a gaining of trust, right? Like with you and Google, is this asset worth putting in our Serps? And so when you conceptualize what the sandbox is, just think of it as an entry point to gaining access to the Serps rather than something that, like Chris said, is set in stone, that's going to keep you somewhere no matter what you're doing. And 100% sure of it, the more you mess with different variables, the more you'll see you can get out of this kind of purgatory period that we refer to as the sandbox a lot quicker. So Hypothetical, what I like to do, especially for newer SEOs, is to consider, I don't know what you're doing there, but it's distracting as hell.
Just
Is considering, what looks natural, right? What occurs naturally. So you're a new business, you've got your new website, you're pumping content there, right? There's no reason that press wouldn't occur naturally, right? Like Google's not going to say, it doesn't make sense that this site's getting links right now. It's only a month old. It's only a few days old. As soon as I start a new asset, boom, I'm hitting it with links. I'm hitting it with content. I'm spreading my budget out over both things. And what you're going to come to find is giving this recipe a very natural look is what's going to get you out of this quote sandbox period quicker. And it's going to make your site resonate like a normal site would, right? So the idea is really just to give Google what it says looks natural, which can really vary when you look at sites across the internet and how quickly they come up. But in my opinion, unless you're in like a low competition kind of local niche, then you're kind of missing out by not giving any press on the off-page side of things. So, like I said, when I first start a site, part of the budget's going to content, typically majority of the budget, if I'm being honest, and then part of the budget is going to backlinking. Diversified backlinks, natural anchors to the homepage predominantly. This kind of stuff is not risky so long as you're doing everything right, and it's going to get you past this kind of sandbox period a lot quicker.
yeah. Yeah, okay. I think we covered that good. Yeah, so what I was doing, what I was laughing at was
He's looking up like
well,
MMA like
it's
shirtless
because
dudes as I'm talking.
it's because we have Jim over here.
Uh-huh.
Jim says, I didn't know Cron Gracie was also a SEO expert. So I looked up Cron
really?
Gracie. I don't know if I'm saying it right. And he's like some MMA fighter that
Well, he's from the Gracie family.
looks a little bit like
they
someone I know.
interesting.
It looks like you, man. The
You think it
hair.
looks like me?
The hair look like
Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it.
on this one
He's
with
a
like
handsome looking guy.
with like the
Right
length
on.
of your
He's
hair right
ripped,
now. You got the
ripped like
mustache too.
me.
He's got like the mustache
Okay.
going on.
I'm
Yeah,
willing to
it
bet
looks
if he's
similar for
Gracie,
sure.
he'd whoop my ass. That's
Dude,
that's
this one
something.
right here, like come on. Like this one right here.
Yeah, cool. Right on.
Maybe if you go
Okay,
get a
I'll
little
take it.
tan and hair get a little bit longer.
Wait, so he's an SEO expert?
No, he's saying that you look like him. He's saying that
Oh, gotcha.
the
That's
joke's not
hilarious.
funny if you
I
have to
I
explain it that
actually,
much.
it was about 10 years ago. But yeah, I used to fight too. I've actually been thinking about joining a new gym, and one of the only gyms here in San Marcos is a Gracie gym, oddly enough. I mean, they're everywhere, but they kind of started BJJ.
When you were doing that, um, were you doing SEO yet? Were you working for that
No,
company? Or
no,
this
no,
was
no, no.
before everything?
Yeah, this was before everything. So I was doing that and just bartending, to make a living, and then, random jobs here and there. But no, I didn't start in SEO until I came back from Alaska. I rode motorcycle up there, got lost for about 7 months, commercial fished and stuff, and then I came down and worked for an agency.
So this is a picture. This is actually a picture of
It's
Nick that I
a
took.
long time ago.
Um,
I
yeah.
would, yeah, Chris took that photo actually. Coach Art, that guy there, he actually passed a few years back.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, he was my boxing coach. Yep, yep.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
hmm It's weird because you start thinking about like timelines. Me and Chris were in our mid 30s right now. But I think we both agree like our mental state is probably kind of childish or immature. And when you start really thinking about like, the timeline and our age range and stuff, it's like, whoa,
I
we're getting
honestly,
old pretty quick.
I honestly don't think I'll ever like quote grow up though. I think something's
No.
wrong with me.
Well, I think that's probably why we ended up in SEO. It's like, yeah, we kind of like to do things our own way, etc. And we've talked about this a lot. We've done I mean, we've kind of done our own thing. We had opportunities to be more corporate inclined or whatever. And yeah, all through our 20s, we were doing more traveling than we were taking anything serious, from a career perspective. But yeah, once SEO hit, then it was like, all right, well, this gives a lot of opportunity. And yeah, Chris and I have known each other since high school. So in the end, we're, here working together. And yeah, we're in opposite sides. I just got back from Alaska. He's in Turkey. And so that's provided a lot of freedom. And I think our lifestyles kind of stay the same, but definitely hasn't kicked us into growing up. Though
I
I
would
would
actually
say
I
having
was
a
gonna say
kid was a swift kick in my ass for sure. That one got me, moving a little harder.
for sure. Um, I would actually really like to do some kind of, doesn't have to be like MMA, but just some kind of like fighting, just
Hmm.
as a way to get out like aggression, because I get
Yeah,
like built up aggression. I
yeah.
guess, but you get it out in the gym, lifting weights and stuff. But I feel like just hitting
It's
someone would be
definitely
nice, or like
it's
even getting
definitely
hit
different.
would be
Well,
nice.
yeah, I mean the thing is like so if you're feeling like that, I always recommend Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is the way to go. Because it's incredibly humbling, right? Like so
Yeah,
you go into the gym, like today I felt like I was on a rager. I felt really good. But it's like you miss that humbling experience that every time you went into the gym to train with the people you regularly trained with, there was going to be some sort of situation where you get humbled. And then you're just beat up and tired from wrestling or sparring or doing any kind of exercise that you might do in that kind of scenario, that leaves you completely drained at the end of the workout. Yeah, I definitely want to get back into it because I've been feeling that too, that kind of pent up aggression, and I've never found anything that releases it quite like fighting does.
the thing I'm worried about though is my shoulders. My shoulders
Yeah.
suck, both of them actually.
Yeah, I've
So maybe
dislocated
not a good
Chris's
idea. I don't
shoulders.
even think they could really take me like hitting something like hitting like a heavy bag regularly. I think it would probably
Mm.
end up being bad for them.
Yeah,
Maybe
do
not my right
soft,
one.
.
Actually, my surgery shoulder is my better one now. I think I actually am gonna have to get surgery on my other one at some point in my
You're
life.
gonna get cement the other one.
Yeah.
Gosh, Chris didn't. So sorry, this is a side shoot, but it was funny. We went on a boat and went tubing, and he dislocated his shoulder doing that, so we had to take him to the hospital.
You sent me to the hospital.
And so in the
He
hospital, they
tried to
put
hurt
him
me and he
under.
did. He
I
succeeded.
didn't try to hurt him. I tried to throw him off the tube. Okay, it's what you're supposed to do. It is what it is. But I did feel bad about it. I did immediately feel bad about it. Um, but in the hospital, they try to put him down, and for whatever reason, like the drugs didn't work on him. So he stayed awake in this state of consciousness where like the doctors and the nurses were laughing, and they let us kind of listen, even though we weren't supposed to, because they were like, this doesn't happen. We gave him anesthesia. He's supposed to be under yada yada, and he is talking like about the just the funniest stuff. They wouldn't let us record, but saying stuff that you probably only say when you're kind of
Re-
hopped up on
Really
something.
effed up.
It was pretty funny. We all got a kick out of that, but yeah.
All right. Let's go back to SEO for a bit.
Hmm.
Um, okay. Is it okay to start giving backlinks to an article with no traffic? The domain already has traffic, but the specific article still has got 0 clicks on the Serps. Yeah, absolutely. You don't need to wait for anything to build backlinks to your site ever, really. Doesn't like your homepage or, basically the only thing I would wait for before building backlinks is just having a page with content on it. I think you could technically build backlinks to pages on your website that don't even exist yet. Is that a best practice? Probably not. But you could do it, and I think it would eventually end up working out just fine. But maybe not if you did it like a whole bunch. I don't know. Google might be like, this is kind of weird.
I've never really
Anyway, I don't.
experimented with
I'm not
that.
saying to do it. What I'm saying is you really don't need to wait for anything. You don't need to wait for your site to get traffic. You don't need to wait for an individual page to get traffic. If the page is there, that's enough. You can go ahead and build links to it. It'd be completely normal for someone who went out and wrote an amazing article on the benefits of whatever protein, some protein powder or whatever, and then reached out to a bunch of health blogs and we're like, hey, you got to check out this research, this awesome article we did on this. This is really good stuff here, and promote it essentially, and they could end up linking to it. And there's absolutely nothing to stop someone from doing that ever, and so Google would in no way, shape, or form try to penalize you or something for it looking unnatural. You can just go ahead and do it as soon as it's up. Do you have anything to add on that, Nick?
I mean, yeah, I always like to bring it back to, if you're unsure, then create a narrative where this can exist in the real world. Remember that something doesn't just have to have momentum online for it to get press, which is essentially what backlinks are. There's some form of press. People can be talking about something that you've been talking about. Maybe your business was on TV. Hypothetically, Google doesn't know that, so they can't write it off completely, right? But invent this scenario in your head where something actually happens, right? Or could potentially happen. This article just went up. That specific day, it could already have press tied to it from factors that don't exist online, be it commercials, be it word of mouth in your local area, etc. And if it's something that cannot definitively be categorized as against what happens normally online, then it's not something that you could get penalized for, if you think about it, right? And oftentimes, it's going to show that you've got press going to that particular asset or page within that asset, and it's going to do well for you. We don't wait at all. However, typically we build authority sites, and so what you'll come to find is the longer you work on these authority sites, the less you really have to prod at the inner pages, and you kind of just get momentum via building out the website as a whole by doing natural anchors over time to the home page.
Yes, sir. All right. So what we got here? Hey, Chris and Nick, I'm thinking of starting an English travel blog about my country. If my link building strategy is mainly from my country's TLD domains, do you think it can work? It would make sense for you to get links from TLDs from English-speaking countries if you're trying to rank in English-speaking or those countries. What I'm trying to think though is why your strategy needs to be to only get links from TLDs in your country. Why can you just not do outreach to English.com sites? It's literally the same. It's the same thing. I don't see a reason why you would only be able to get links from TLDs of your country. You could just do the outreach for .com English sites, or you could purchase links for .com English sites from a provider like us. But either way, if you're going to buy them or if you're going to do the outreach yourself, essentially the same thing is happening. People are just reaching out to these websites. So yeah, I just don't really see why you would kind of limit yourself like that to only links from your country's TLDs. I just feel like it's kind of unnecessary, an unnecessary limit that will only make things harder. It might be able to work. It really, I don't know, I'm kind of iffy on it, but the best practice, the natural thing to do would be to get links from, other TLDs as well, English speaking, normal TLDs or whatever. What do you have on that, Nick?
No, yeah, I agree. I think you're going to have a hard time if you're exclusively, getting TLDs that are in your country, but you're trying to promote this in foreign Serps, right? Best practice would be to get a mix of TLDs, especially the ones in geographic areas that you most want to rank, because that's what's going to look most natural, right? This website that you're promoting needs to get promotions from the geographic regions that you're trying to advertise in. Now, it's not to say that TLDs from your country wouldn't help, or TLDs from other foreign countries wouldn't help, right? There's expats that live everywhere that might be writing in English, dedicated to English speakers that live within a specific geographic region. But, ideal scenario, think about the TLDs that resonate in the SERPs that you're trying to go after.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I think we're done on that one. Hopefully that helps. Pantelis? Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, guys. It helps us out a lot. Also join us in our Facebook group, SEO Roundtable. We're in there every day posting stuff and answering questions and, giving tips and all that. So definitely the place to be. Yep, drop your questions in the chat if you have them. Otherwise, we'll be getting to some backlog questions. All right, one second. All right. Says, to improve my old articles, what should I look for? Any tools to help? So what I do when I'm going and re-optimizing old content is I first just look up that URL in Ahrefs, and I want to see basically how it's doing for what I wanted it to rank for. And what you'll see a lot of the times is maybe you did a good job and the site had some authority and it got some good rankings in the beginning, but maybe you just haven't really paid attention to the site or the page in a very long time, and the rankings could eventually start to slip over time. Maybe it was at near the top of page 1, then it kind of went to the bottom of page 1, or maybe even fell off and now it's on page 2 or something. Or so that would be the first thing I do. Is I would look at the page in Ahrefs to see what's going on as far as the rankings for it go. The next thing I would do is I would actually just look up like the main keyword in Google itself, and I would see if the it's easier to do these in the morning. My brain's not working. It's easier to see. So you type in the main keyword into Google, and it's easier to see if the search intent has changed or not. Because a lot of the time, search intent for keywords is changing like all the time. What Google thinks people want to see when they type your keyword, they're changing that kind of thing pretty often, actually.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this September update really kind of pissed me off a little bit.
With search intent stuff?
Yeah.
So, an example of that would be maybe it was like your keyword is like dog toys or something. And so maybe 2 years ago when you typed in dog toys, there was all like product pages. It'd be like, this is the best dog toys here. This is the best dog toy collection, whatever. And then maybe 2 years later or something, maybe it's changed to like, what are dog toys? It's like more like informational or something like that. Or maybe it's even changed to like a listicle, like the 21 best dog toys. You can see all the top rankers have these lists like that. So basically, that would be the second thing I do, is to see if the search intent has changed. And then what I would do is I would take maybe the 3 top rankers, and I would go and pop them into Ahrefs as well and see if they have any like big keywords that they're ranking for. Just see what's going on with their keywords and if I'm kind of missing out on anything. And then, after I've kind of figured out if there's any like big sections I'm missing or these kind of like keyword clusters in there that it just might be completely left off or whatever, I normally pop it into something like Surfer SEO. It's our favorite content tool. We're not affiliated anyway. We don't make money from them, but we use it all the time. So
yeah.
And so I'd use Surfer to help with like article, content length, with how many times I'm using certain kinds of keywords and whatnot. And after I said I would look at like the top 3 rankers and see what keywords I'm kind of missing, any like kind of big sections or clusters I'm missing. And Surfer will help with that as well. I like to see it with my own eyes as well, just to kind of see what's going on exactly. Especially if you're not really super super duper like knowledgeable about the topic or whatever, that it really helps like kind of getting a feel for it. Rather than just saying like Surfers like says I need all these keywords, but how do I fit these in? But if you actually looked at the articles first and you know that they all kind of have a section on this thing and that's where those kind of keywords are going to be clustered into, it just helps out a lot. So yeah, I think that's pretty much what I do. Yeah, just Ahrefs to see if it's how the rankings are doing. If it's not doing good, it's a good one to re-optimize. Check for search intent. Look up the top rankers, see what kind of keywords what they have, or what kind of sections they have that you might be missing. Pop things back into Surfer. Get it to a good length or longer than everything else. Get all the kind of keywords and stuff that you're missing in there. I think that's pretty much it.
And yeah, Surfer is an awesome tool, and the main thing Chris is talking about right now is content editor. However, there's also a keyword research tool within Surfer that's pretty awesome. It'll give you percentages of what ranks in the same SERP. So if there's a opportunity where maybe you've written about two subject matters, but they have low overlap or high overlap, then maybe there's a keyword cannibalization issue, et cetera, that you can kind of gloss over. And then, like Chris said, you manually check the SERPs to, just be sure of that. But yeah, it's an awesome tool. I know Matt Diggity has something to do with ownership in that, and he's a good guy. So yeah, we use Surfer a lot. It's a solid tool if you're looking for something for on-page factors.
For sure. All right, let's see what we got next.
How did you just mute call to prayer? Oh, never mind.
I think what happens is if I'm not making any noise or whatever, it'll start trying to look for the any kind of noise that's there, and it'll amplify it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I only hear it as you're speaking.
There's actually a mosque, because I'm in Istanbul right now, and there's actually a mosque like directly, like probably 15 feet from my building.
Oh, right on.
But the loudspeaker is kind of like up and like blasts like over my so.
Yeah, do you
think it's louder than the other place or not?
No, it sounds about the same, really. That microphone that you've got, you're still using the little lapel mic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those things that's pretty badass.
Yeah, definitely nice for traveling.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Jim asks, what about tier 2 links quality? I'm guessing he's just asking like, do tier 2 links need to be quality? How low can I go?
GSA on my tier 2 links. Well,
I'll let you start off, and then I'll say what I think.
Okay. Yeah, no, Google can go back 2, 3, 4 tiers, and they are making sense of the narrative that you're feeding them. So if you've got amazing tier 1 links, and then you're doing tier 2 links, but they're all pure spam, well, in the end, the variable that's going to get hit with the spam issue is your website, right? Because it's at the center of this kind of like galaxy web. Yeah, there you go, web that you're building. Well, because I remember in OMG back in the day, there was this really, really interesting link module that they showed us on something. And it was almost like looking into like, a mini universe. And it'd go over these authority websites and how kind of, expanded the backlink profile existed, which was really cool to see, kind of physical. But yeah, the last time I used really spammy tactics on tiered link building was probably like 6-7 years ago, and it wasn't working then. If you're spending a lot of time and energy on a money site, and then you're spending a lot of money or time gathering links for that particular money site, then keep it quality. Now, that's not to say you want to spend, buy a $600 link and use it as a tier 2 link. That's not what I'm saying. But, if you're going to do Web 2.0s and different kind of, lower end pillow type links, just make sure that they're quality and that they've got unique content. It's not spun garbage, etc. Right? So don't go all the way low, but at the same time, you're not going to want to expend high quality links that are very expensive or hard to get uh, as tier two links.
So yeah, as far as what kind of links do you like to use for tier two links? What kind of tier two links when you do tiered
I
link
think
building?
barrage is
Yeah, so
pretty
that's what I was
awesome.
going to show first. So like when I want to do tiered link building, like the number one thing I always go to is our low authority niche edits, which are right here. And so these are, as far as links from real sites go, they're incredibly cheap. They're if you buy like the huge packs, they get as cheap as $25 a link, but it really just depends on like how many you get. But yeah, anywhere between like $25 and $35 per link in these kind of bulk packs. But yeah, they're not spam in any way, so they're quality, but they're very low authority. Like the RD, the referring domains each of these sites have is only between 10 and 50. So the sites themselves are quite weak, but they're real sites and they're cheap. So we love to use these things for tier two link building. It's actually really the only thing I use. Do you ever use? I mean,
Diversity style links can work as well.
diversity links.
When we talk about like PDF links and stuff
Yeah.
like that, I guess, when you consider using what's more of a pillow style link as a tier two, what you need to understand is what's natural in search. Is it natural for a directory link to point to an inner page of a website? Typically, it's not. It's not to say that you can't do it, but you want to be kind of strategic with how you do it, right? So if you've got 30 tier one links pointing at your money site, and then outside of that, you're blowing out, 20, 30 directory type links, etc. Blog comments, which typically only point to the home page, right? Because when you type in, it's going to ask you for your name and it's going to ask you for your website. It's rare that somebody, or it's just not natural that somebody would put a inner page link in there,
Unless it's like
right?
a
We're talking
contextual
about,
link and not like the name on the
yeah,
comment.
sure. Yeah. If you can get a contextual link, then that's fine. So what's another really good one that me and Chris like using is forum links, right? Because you can get contextual links within forums. A lot of times you've got to spend time on those forums to get access to being able to do those links, or you can purchase them from people who already have access. So forum links are good.
Do you ever use PBN links
And then, yeah.
anymore?
Yeah, you can do PBN links as well. Absolutely. I typically like to go very natural with my PBN links as far as anchors go. So if you're going to do PBN links, or maybe you run your own PBN, then you can drop in interpage PBN links. That's something that I do pretty often. It's going to resonate the same as any niche edit.
Yeah. So I don't when I'm doing tiered link building, I wouldn't ever really do any kind of like pillow linking to the pages really. But yeah, these low authority niche edits along with maybe a PBN link every now and then. But yeah, that'd pretty much be the extent of it. You know, like you were saying before, like Google is not, I think their algorithm is smart enough to say like, why are all the links that are pointing to this site have a ton of spam going to them? So what you're doing, we don't pay attention to spam score, but what you're doing is you're essentially increasing the spam score to all of the links you've built to the
Spamminess,
site.
yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you,
You're decreasing the value of what you paid for.
yeah, so but like we don't really like spam score because we just think it's not a good judge of things. But you know, you're essentially, I just feel like it's not too hard for Google to understand that, these links they're just not that great. You took a link that was okay and then you made it kind of iffy in Google's view, whereas it could have just been what it was before, maybe just, propped up with some other like decent links, like a decent PBN or these niche edits or whatever. I won't say that it can't work. I bet people still do it pretty often. But yeah, it's just as far as building things to last and building projects that, that, essentially companies that last a long time and don't get popped by algo updates. It's just not something we do. We're definitely on the more cautious side when we're doing things that Google doesn't like. We don't really go like super duper black hat these days. Yeah. Anything else to add on that, Nick?
I don't think so. No, not really. I will say don't ignore the power of something like a well-done Web 2.0, though. I think that's a solid tier 2 or tier 3 link as well, especially on a budget.
For sure.
But again,
that's something I haven't done in a while, actually. I haven't like really done tiered link building to like Web 2.0s. It was something that like in the beginning, learning from like OMG Machines, I think is where I got it from at first. Then I think Greg was just like beefing up Web 2.0s with a bunch of PBNs, kind of like cheaper PBNs. But yeah, it's just not really something I've done too much
I was
myself
talking about using Web 2.0s as a tiered link building strategy to, tier 1 links. But again, here's something that you want to really consider, right? When you're building is what are we trying to ignore when we're link building? We're trying to ignore footprints or blatant, obvious signs of manipulation, right? So tier 1, you're diversifying the type of links you're using. You're diversifying the anchors you're using. You're diversifying where they go. Tier 2 should be the exact same kind of thing. Even if you're using lower quality links, your concept should still be based in how to diversify it so it looks naturally, right? So you don't want to use, let's say you've got a small website with 30 referring domains to it, right? High quality domains. You don't want to blanket those 30 domains. Let's say you're trying to hit all 30 domains with tier 2 links. You don't want to blanket that with the exact same type of links, same type of tactic. It all leads back to your site. It is literally a funnel from tier 5, wherever, that comes back in and points directly at your site. So imagine that and try and get away from, anything that can be seen as a footprint. If you yourself can see it, then Google crawlers for sure know how to categorize it and catalog it as something that looks off, right? So.
For sure. All right. So is it okay if we skip pillow links and only focus on guest posts and niche edits, or are pillow links still mandatory?
I don't think they've ever been mandatory, but it's definitely not something I would do.
It's not something I do on it. I don't skip pillow links on any project.
Like again, does it make sense, right? A company gets started, and what are the first things they do? They get their socials going, they get directories.
So I'd say that's probably like the most important pillow link is the social profiles. Like that's like so, and I think Google even states it in their patent that they look at the social profiles, especially the big ones, like that. It's just when, like you were saying, or maybe I should just let you finish it. When a new business gets started, they do this.
Yeah, they're trying to get out.
They go and they set up. Yeah, they're establishing their brand online. Especially the social profiles. So that's like the mega necessary one. But go on, Nick.
Well, no, I mean, like we've talked about it a million times. There's multiple ways to skin the cat here, but best practice. Tom the plumber is typically going to put himself on Facebook and whatever other social profiles he's interested in after starting the website. And then they're going to get their name out in directories, right? Directories. Maybe they talk on forums, etc., right? Maybe they leave blog comments on niche down relevant type of domains. So, if you're just going with guest posts or niche edits or high authority backlinks, then essentially you're not diversifying your link profile as well as you could. And you're kind of missing out on a huge portion of what looks natural in the Serps, right? So there would never be a time where I skip pillow linking. I think they're of huge value. And then they add longevity, right? Like if all you're doing from month number 1 to a year in is adding the same amount of budget towards guest posts, which is a brand new article with a contextual backlink in it, or a niche edit, which is a pre-existing article with a contextual link in it, then that's only 2 types of links that you're getting month to month. And overall, like I just compared to what you're going to be doing if you're in a more competitive niche, I think you're going to look unnatural at some point in time. Yeah, they're higher value, they're higher authority, but missing out on that diversification and naturalness is going to end up harming you in the long run, in my opinion.
Yeah, and one more thing is, for the price of one guest post, for the price of like half a guest post,
Yeah,
you could get more than, for the price of half of a guest post, yeah, you could get like more than enough pillow links than you'll ever need, right?
yeah,
Not saying you don't want to build them some, every now and then later down the line, but if you're not building them yourself, building them yourself, it's going to take some time because it's time consuming. But they're super easy to build. So if you buy them from a provider like us, like if you get our pillow links packs or our diversity links packs, just compared to guest post or niche edits prices, I mean these things are cheap. So I just don't
right.
I don't see why you'd want to skip something that's so we really see it as like a I do see it as like a mandatory step as part of like foundation building, or as part of just link building in general, just getting some of that kind of randomness in there, some of kind of just the natural, super duper white hat, normal stuff that every business owner tries to get in the beginning, especially. I just don't see any reason why you'd want to skip that when they're so, you can just make them yourself or you can buy them super cheap. So
Well, and furthermore, it's also going to depend on your niche and how competitive things are. But if you're in like a local niche and you're skipping pillow links, that means you're skipping things like citations that give a whole lot of
yeah,
information to Google about name, address, phone number, etc. They, tie the room together, so to speak. And if you're in low competition, there's countless low competition metros where all you need to outrank everybody is a solid website that's done properly as far as on page goes with a small blast of pillow style links, right? So, in and of itself, that goes to show that they do have immense value, for rankability. And even when it comes to like a big affiliate site, yeah, I'm still gonna pillow incredibly aggressively with something like that.
for sure. Hopefully that helps. Um, Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Help us out a lot. And
Nice.
join us on Facebook in our Facebook group, the SEO Round Table. We're in there every day, throwing out tips and answering questions and taking polls and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Elif says, "Hey guys, I hope you're doing well." Yeah,
Thank
I'm
you.
doing pretty good, Elif. I'm a little
Yeah.
tired, but doing good. How are you? Let's see what we got next. And yeah, if you've got any questions, drop them in the chat. We'll get to them. Otherwise, we'll get to some of our backlog questions. Um,
I like the recover one, maybe,
which one?
since it's new, how to recover from Google's helpful content update. Because it
I
seems
hear
like
you.
it's pretty fresh on everybody's mind right now.
I haven't thought about it at all.
Dude,
Just,
I was looking up, yeah, there was just a thread going the other day, and I was kind of feeling the same way where I was just like, ah, I've got this one site that I'd been working on just fucking deleting old garbage content that somebody had ran through it. And, the August one came and it was fine. Everything was running well. And then September came and it was like, oh, let's retank this particular asset, which just drove me crazy. But yeah, how to recover from it. If you've got a website that's got a bunch of garbage content on it, a lot of older SEOs especially like to, oh, we just need content running through this thing, but it's not helpful. There's no keyword research done. Maybe it's just thin, crappy content going after particular SERPs, etc. If it doesn't look like it's going to help, then, the consensus seems to be that if there are a massive amount of pages that don't serve a solid purpose in the SERPs that somebody would want to use, then your asset as a whole, your money site as a whole, is going to start lagging behind, because overall, your quality, the quality of that particular website isn't very high. So either start fleshing things out, start giving the user what they want. You can do this with like Surfer, things that we talked about earlier, or start deleting pages that really don't matter. Deleting content that you've got there. Maybe it's indexed in the top 100 pages, but it has been for a long time and isn't going anywhere. I mean, overall, this is content that does not serve a purpose. So that would be my main advice as far as what happened in September goes.
Focus, I'm just kind of seeing
Yeah.
what Google themselves has said about it. I haven't really looked at this before.
I'm
Focus on
I'm willing to
people
bet
first
too.
content.
So something I've
Hmm.
noticed is Orphaned Pages. They're not doing so well anymore, and it's going to affect your score, especially if I say score, there is no actual score, but your rankability. If you've got a ton of Orphaned Pages, stuff that you're obviously hiding, from the main connectivity of your website, and then what was the other one that I thought I kind of noticed? Hmm. Faded. Because I was going to start off with that one, but now I don't remember.
Yeah, so it's a
Pardon
bunch
me.
of stuff just saying like basically, would people actually like read this content?
Oh, that
Um,
one. The way that it's written, I think it kind of helps
Firsthand.
to act like, yeah, you've had firsthand experience with it versus, you know, uh, writing it as a third party kind of person. So
Gotcha.
I've had
What about,
experience
this one's
using
kind of
this.
interesting. Does your site have a primary purpose or focus? People, when they saw this, they were thinking that Google was going to hit parasite SEO.
Mm,
But as far as I can tell, parasite SEO is still alive and well.
yeah.
I was just looking at some stuff last night.
Maybe more like
Um,
general sites, because like I don't know if you were around when 10 Beasts sold for like I think 600K, but it was a 5-page sniper website. I think it was called 10 Beasts, or maybe 10 page. But anyhow, it was a very small website. Good keyword research on random topics, threw it up there, ended up selling on Flippers or something like that for a large amount of money. But that kind of
hmm.
stuff, I don't think
I mean,
really
that's what
works
people are
anymore.
doing with Parasite. It's all these just general kind of news sites, and they just put like, best
Yeah.
weight loss pills. You get a sponsored article on there, and boom, I'm on the top of page one.
Yeah, I
And
think
those,
maybe the hard part with that is that these new sites are massive, right? So they've got an insane amount of content on them, which kind of helps insulate them from looking like a small sniper site, I guess.
what I thought about this stuff as well was after you're reading your content, will someone leave feeling they've learned enough about a topic to help achieve their goal? Will someone reading your content leave feeling like they've had a satisfying experience? These two things to me seem like they're going to more heavily weight like a bounce rate.
Mm,
Like if someone clicks into your article and then they don't stay there long, they go back to the SERP and they click on another site. That's really showing Google they went to the site, they quickly were like, this sucks.
yeah.
And they went to another site
I'm
to
out of
try to
here.
find the same answer that they're looking for, right? Um, so yeah, avoid creating content for search engines first. Blah, blah, blah. They talk about extensive automation. So if you are using AI stuff, we're still not big in the AI, but if you are using AI, I know a lot of people are. I think anyone would probably tell you at this point, best practice is to that you should be editing this stuff pretty heavily, rather than just going super duper automated and taking exactly what the AI spits out on the first hand without changing anything and throwing it up on your site. Um, is there anything
Yeah,
else interesting here?
I think the writing for crawlers versus the people that land on your site is kind of an interesting one. It made me start thinking that I'm probably going to be doing a lot larger portion towards informational articles month to month, versus how I used to be way more aggressive towards, pure affiliate articles or, article review style articles. I think that might be a variable that I'm going to mess with quite a bit from here on out.
So yeah, my takeaway, I haven't had to recover anything from these updates, so I'm probably not the best person to ask about this. But my main takeaway from all this stuff is that they're really just trying to get at stuff that seems too automated or just really low quality, kind of just crappy content that the users aren't getting anything out of. So if you got hit by these updates, like Nick was saying, go see if there's a bunch of like junk pages on your site that serve no purpose or whatever, and no one wants to read. Check that kind of stuff. Make sure articles are well written and people that actually click on it are gonna want to stay there and read it and not just go visit another website because yours wasn't any good. And if you're doing like super automated stuff, you're using a bunch of AI or whatever, put some effort into it and edit things a bit and get things a little more user friendly than just this kind of generic stuff that a little robot is writing for you.
But if you are watching and you use AI and it's working and you're making a killing, get in our group and start bragging about it and tell us how you did it, please. Like Chris said, we don't really mess with any of that stuff right now. So I'd love to hear about it.
I think I'm gonna start. I think I wanna try to use it on. I don't know what I'm gonna use it on yet, but it's definitely interesting. I just feel like as far as if I was a writer, I think I'd be using it. But
Well, we know we've had writers who have tried using it in pretty recent history that then it's like, hey, do you have some help writing this?
Yeah,
'Cause
but
it
they did
sounds
a
like
horrible
crap.
job. They were just like they just like left it like that. Rather than
Yeah.
what it's awesome
Uh,
for is it'll like basically just spit the stuff out for you and kind of give you a place to start. And like it kind of like does the research for you. Like instead of like you're writing a section about something and it's related, to your overall the topic of the article, and it'll kind of write something about that by pulling from other websites essentially. And
mm.
so it just kind of does all the website looking for you in a way and kind of puts it and it just gives you a place to kind of start. And yeah, I don't know, it's definitely interesting. I think it could cut down on writing time quite a bit if you're writing things yourself. Yeah, definitely can't recommend just throwing it up how it is because it's can be pretty rough. Just be kind of
I know we had a subscriber that was having a lot of luck using it with YouTube, right? So typically when we speak about things, we're talking about websites ranking in the Serps. We don't do a whole lot of YouTube manipulation. So there might be other areas where you could be real successful doing stuff like that. I don't 100% know.
all right. Let's see what we got next. Hi, my only competitor has a DA of 20. It has over 200 referring domains, mostly PBNs. Oof. But his on page is very bad. He didn't even mention location one time in the content, and he only has one location. Oh, I'm gonna get the rest of the question here, I think. There's only one location page that is ranking number 5 for main keyword, not for services keyword. How can I beat him? Niche is plumbing, comp is very low, citations are ranking on top 10. I mean, if citations are ranking, I think you might have, I'm not sure if you were the person that asked us about this. It was about like a super small town, like maybe up in Oregon or something, or Northern California, I can't remember. Maybe you're the same person, maybe not. But anyway, all right, so your competitor has a DA of 20. He's your only competitor, and your other competition is just basically citations. Well, the citations you should be able to beat out no problem. So then you just have the one competitor, right? I don't want to tell them to just spam out their site with PBNs or whatever. Normally I say look what competitors are doing and emulate that, but you've got the one competitor and he's got a ton of PBN, so I can't really 100% recommend you follow that. Um, but yeah, I mean you're gonna have to build. You might have to build some links to try to outdo him, right? Um, what do you think, Nick?
Just yeah. So it's a local site, which is typically going to be lower competition than what we're usually talking about. I'm kind of assuming here, but I think it's not a very competitive
Yeah,
metro, given that your competitor is using spam to rank,
and
right?
he has one competitor. The rest are just
Right.
citations. I don't even know why they have
So
so many PBNs if there's no other competition.
it's funny, somebody who I knew, friend of a friend called me recently saying something similar, where they had a Facebook page that was ranking with a GMB attached to it, and they were, always number one until this last algo update, and then they fell out of favor completely. There's one person in that metro using a WordPress website, and it's got citations on it. They rank number one for absolutely everything in that niche for that metro. But whenever you're seeing something like that, to me, it's ignore what your competitor is doing and just do things right. So make sure that your on page is better and more fleshed out than this competitor, right? You've got more services. Maybe you've got more areas served. It's got more content on there. Use Surfer if you want, although Surfer would be overkill here because there's no other competition, right? So you can probably just get away with doing, 500 words content per page, or, 500 to 1,000, somewhere in there. And then get your citations, boom, leg up, and then get, a couple authority links here and there month to month. And honestly, even just with the website and remedial backlinking, my opinion would be you've got a good shot at beating out this competitor, and being number one for everything in that particular metro. So
Try to get some
whenever you see
local
something like
links
that,
too.
yeah, well, yeah, sure. That's going to, be great for you too. But especially considering that somebody is spamming and they're staying at the top and there's no other competition, I think you've got a really good shot. You might not even need to use any backlinks. I wouldn't advise that. Just do the minimum pillow links, citations type stuff. So that you've got longevity in that SERP, as typically metros are growing. But yeah, I would just focus on doing things the right way,
Yeah, especially
and
for
going
real
slow.
business.
You don't beat out low competition SERPs by hammering down with a shit ton of power.
Yeah, that's so
You do
weird.
it by emulating kind of what happens in small metros, which is typically a lot slower, small growth. But especially when we talk about the way your site is set up, that's going to be of huge value here,
It's really
especially if your
weird that
competitor's crappy at it.
they even did that though. Like, why would you build so many PBN links to a zero competition
There's probably just some, I mean, like, it's funny. You
unless they
look in these
hired
local
someone?
SERPs and they hire random people
Yeah,
who only do local shit, but they're not well versed, right? Like, they
$100
know
a
how to
month
get on
SEO.
Fiverr. They know they've got somebody to either they build a site and it's okay. It's got like kind of the concept down, or they outsource it to somebody. And then they get on Fiverr or some comparable backlinking, place, and they just order stuff that they ordered 5 years ago.
Yeah,
In low competition SERPs, if that's your bread and butter, if that's these people's bread and butter, then they don't necessarily have to grow the same as like affiliate marketers do with larger, more competitive SERPs, who do have to deal with some of these more nuanced kind of gains, by diversifying backlink profile and paying attention to the trends that Google's actually monitoring and rewarding in the SERPs. So, you know,
but yeah, like Nick was saying, it sounds like these guys, like you said, they don't even have any on-page done. They just blast it with PBN links. So if you just do things correctly, you get your site up there, get a nice site up there, build some topical authority, talk about plumbing or whatever, to build some nice location relevance throughout your site. Um, so you're, actually making a nice website, and then, try to get some local links if you can, And then I feel like you really shouldn't need to push that much authority. If you could just do things like very nicely and very naturally, but still good as far as SEO goes, with some nice tactics in there and some a little juice from some backlinks, then I feel like you should be able to beat out some like spammer. Another thing is they could literally just drop off the map
Yeah.
at any time, you know?
Yeah, and maybe they would
So
have
there's always
if
that.
there were any other competitors, but if Google doesn't really have good options to place up there and they're like the only one that's showing up as a local business, maybe they're the only ones with a website. That's what happened in this metro that I was recently looking at. Then yeah, they're just going to be rewarded regardless because it's an exclusivity issue. There's nothing else to put there.
Yeah. All right, so hopefully that helps. And I think this is going to be our last question, guys. If you have any other little questions, go and pop them in now, or else we're going to be taking off because it looks like we are running out of time. Hey guys, any tips on budget management for building 30,000 plus backlinks? Like, how much money should I spend on different stages of my campaign? First of all, I just want to say building 30,000 backlinks is quite honestly insane. I
Sure, can I jump in?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I want to start by saying if you're just getting started on a project and you're concerning yourself with how many backlinks, like that's your main goal set is how many backlinks you're trying to get, then you're kind of just you're stepping forward with the wrong foot, in my opinion. Don't think about that. Think about what budget you have for X amount of months, right? So if your goal set is within 6 months or within 1 year, this is kind of what I'm trying to achieve, right? And typically the best way, and we spoke about this in the group recently, to look at that isn't going to be your actual rankings, but more so your return on investment. And you're going to do that by targeting different goal sets, some that are going to take more time, be more competitive to get to, alongside some that are easier to access, right? Your budget needs to be spread out over a decent amount of time where you think you can get to profitability. And in that budget, you don't need to just think about backlinks because you could send 30,000 high quality backlinks at a website that's, small, not fleshed out, and you're not going to get what you want out of it. It's just there's too many variables that are missing there to paint the whole narrative for Google to say, hey, this is the site that deserves that. So, you're breaking down your budget over essentially content and then or on page, off page factors, because maybe you're not building or designing the site, etc. I don't know, but those are the two things that you want to budget out for, and you want to do it imagining that month to month, you're growing over time. Now, for me personally, if I'm looking to make, and what it sounds like you want is a authority website. Otherwise, I don't know what 30,000 links is
I'm
for.
also wondering if
Um,
it's 30,000 backlinks or 30,000 referring domains, like 30,000, actual links from unique sites. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm guessing he's meaning referring domains because otherwise it's like, okay, fine, a handful of footer links and stuff,
But
but
like
then we're getting into different
30,000
territory.
referring domains is so many
Ooh,
links.
yeah, you're talking about a mega site.
Like you can build a super authority site with like less than 1,000 links easy,
Sure.
easy
Yeah.
peasy,
Mm.
and like
Um,
you have incredible authority. Um,
yeah.
anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, so that's just what I would stick to is like, don't worry about how many links you're getting. That shouldn't be your goal set. Return on investment should be your goal set. And if you're really looking at fulfilling a long-term plan from SEO, then you want to do it like you would do with any business, which is here is my bankroll, here is my budget. For this long, and here's where I expect to be profitable if I do this, this, and this. And then you're mapping it out with multiple variables, not just backlinks, but your content as well. and then, everything else that you might pay for, do yourself. I will say that for me personally, when I start off on a new project, I'm typically more aggressive with my budget at the very beginning. I like to do things very aggressively, lots of content,
So let me
lots
pause
of
you 1 second.
emulated
Let me
press.
pause you 1 second. If you're still here, the person who asked this question, if you're still here, can you just answer what niche are you in? Sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, I like to be more aggressive up front, because basically the first time I ever saw something go viral, a website go viral, it was a friend's site, and he posted a interesting hack that he'd found, and it went viral overnight. It was a very small website, had no press going to it before, and then all of a sudden, this inner page gets hit with like 150 referring domains. That skyrocketed it into traffic for particular terms, etc. And after I saw that, I kind of saw something that I like to emulate whenever I first start a project, which is why I go heavier on budget at the beginning, because I'm trying to emulate a lot of rapid growth and a lot of rapid press. There is a ton of buzz going about this thing. And then you can kind of trail off and change your budget, right? So there's also different ways to budget for something. The simplest way, of course, would be to just, this is, my budget month to month spread out over 6 to 12 months, right? Where I expect to get to profitability. But yeah, I would probably just shift my mindset from building links exclusively to return on investment.
Its other niche is medical education.
Mm,
So yeah, as far as what
competitive.
you're doing for, I'm not sure why why you have this number of 30,000 backlinks. And if you're still here, please answer me this as well. Why did you choose that number, 30,000? And is that for 30,000 backlinks, or is that for 30,000 referring domains that you want to build? And so, but yeah, anyway, when you're talking about when you have the intention to build a lot of backlinks to a website, in general, I mean, so you could start off very strong, like in Nick's case study that we're going to be releasing hopefully pretty soon.
I'm having it done this week. I promise to God. It's not another week will I spend working on that thing. It's coming out, baby.
So like in Nick's case study that's coming out soon, he shows you how to kind of use a press release and just, there's also a 301 redirect in there, I believe. And it's just, we're starting off like pretty hard with a bunch
Over
of,
700 links in month number 1.
yeah, which is not something we normally do. Normally, I like to, normally when I'm starting to build backlinks for a site, I would like to take things, I don't really count pillow links, and there's a higher number of them, so I don't really count those as links at all, really. When I'm counting links, I'm more so just talking about, guest posts and niche edits. And normally, I like to start off a little. Okay, so there's only 1,000 referring domains. Okay, so first of all, 30,000 backlinks. Get that number out of your head. Then your number is 1,000. 1,000 referring domains. That would be like buying 1,000 backlinks from 1,000 different sites.
Well, the best way to do that right out the gate, buy an age domain with a large number of backlinks in your niche,
Yeah, you could do an age
or
domain in
referring
301,
domains.
or you could build
No,
on
or
the
just
domain.
start with it. Yeah, I mean, I won't build a money site anymore on anything but an age domain that's already got some power going to it. It's a huge hack, when considering, what you're building. You're going to get more bang for your buck versus building all those on your own, quite honestly. So yeah, that'd be my biggest advice if you're really concerned about that. Start off with
Yeah,
something that's got a lot of press attached to it.
yeah, you could find a nice age domain with 500 plus referring domains, and you're paying quite a bit less for them
Hmm.
than if you were to build them all yourself. But yeah, in general, when starting on fresh sites, I do like to start off kind of slow, and then you could hit a press release a little bit later on, and then kind of ramp things up a little bit quicker if you wanted to. But I'm pretty sure Nick has mentioned this before. In general, you just want to, rather than trying to just blow everything out like right in the beginning and get it done with, it'd be, I think, better to build them, steadily over time. And it doesn't mean you have to build the same exact amount every month or whatever. You can kind of do it in little spurts or waves or whatever. Just think about, when a website gets press or whatever, press doesn't just come in, it's not always just this steady, even keel. It can kind of have its ups and downs, as the business gets talked about. Maybe they have an article they released that got talked about a bunch, or maybe they had some news that really blew up the amount of people talking about them. So you don't have to really think about it in some kind of like super strict way, right? But yeah, in general, I like to start off a little bit slower. Then you can just kind of blow things out a bit, and then you probably come down from that kind of big blowout and kind of go maybe a little bit steadier for a while, and then have some months where you just allocate more. And one advantage to not just going super heavy in the beginning, other than it just kind of, if you just go super heavy in the beginning and then it just like dies down, it just kind of shows Google that your business like was super popular and now it's not as popular as it used to be. But other than that, if you're talking about like return on investment, time is a big factor in SEO. And I feel like what a lot of people, they blow out these huge budgets in the beginning, and they might have actually been able to get things done for a good amount cheaper if they just didn't blow that huge wad in the beginning and just kind of did it steadily over time instead, right?
Right.
Because time definitely counts.
Yeah, and there's more competition now than there used to be 10 years ago as far as SEOs go. Like back in the day, a lot of SEOs had the business model of understanding the variables that easily manipulated search, and they'd get something rank, and then, hands off. There you go. But now, if you're talking about any competitive niche, you're going against an SEO that knows what the hell they're doing, and they know how to manage a budget over a long period of time as well. So you've got to kind of walk the walk and talk the talk as far as going after that kind of competitive competition.
And also keep in mind, so I know your competitors have about 1,000 referring domains. So these are, they're most likely authority sites, if their links are any good at all, which I'm assuming they are. If it's, medical education, sounds like could be, some pretty decent competition there. But yeah, keep in mind that just because they have, just because Ahrefs says they have 1,000 referring domains does not mean that they built 1,000 links for their sites. A lot of the stuff that pops in there is just kind of like junk stuff that websites all kind of get. Just, your site just gets hit with this weird like spam stuff, just weird stuff that happens on the internet. The internet's a weird place. Plus just the, natural links and whatnot. So you might not have to, build 1,000. So anyway, if you're looking for a return on investment, you could start a little bit slower and kind of blow things out and just give it some time rather than just trying to get it all done super duper quick, for, the two reasons I had mentioned. You have anything left to add on that, Nick?
No, I think we covered it.
Cool. And yeah, also, I know you need 1,000 referring domains, but especially being in medical niche, I'd focus on quality if I were you for the most part. All right, so yeah, hopefully that helped, guys. Please like, comment, subscribe. We're down bad. We need it.
We're down bad.
Actually, we're not down bad. We just hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So thanks, guys. If y'all are subscribed to us on YouTube, we really appreciate it. We actually haven't tried to grow the YouTube channel at all. The videos, because we just do these live streams and we cut them up and throw them on YouTube. So the videos actually aren't set up to perform well on YouTube, just the way their algorithm works.
But in all honesty, full disclosure, my crypto and stonks portfolio is down bad, and I need to feed my baby. Okay, so let's get those likes, comments, and subscribes. Okay.
Yeah, please like, comment, subscribe for Nick's baby.
Bad.
And of course, join us in the SEO Roundtable as well on Facebook, our Facebook group. And you can even go to our website and subscribe as well, where if you want to get notified of our monthly sales or like when we have new case studies going out and that kind of thing. But yeah, thanks, guys. Hopefully our answers helped you, and we will see you next week, same time, same place, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Adios.